This video is all about division strategies based on place value. As fourth graders, students are moving from basic division facts and basic multiplication facts and being able to apply concepts of division and multiplication to larger numbers. And fourth graders have to be able to divide numbers in the thousands by a single-digit divisor. So the strategies we're going to take a look at that I have on the poster for you are the base 10 strategy, the area model, and the partial quotient model. And we're using these strategies with the students to really try to develop that understanding behind the different processes. When I went to school, we learned a process, only one procedure, and that procedure was void of any place value. And I'll talk to you about what I mean by that after we go through each one of these strategies. And know that these are stepping stones to understanding the standard algorithm. So the first strategy is called base 10 because we use base 10 models to model that problem. So if I were going to build 642, I would need 600s, I would need 40, and I would need 2. And I already have them divided out, so I'm going to talk to you about how I did that. We're dividing by 3. Our divisor is 3. So with the students, we make 3 categories, 3 groups, and then we think about the number. We have 600. So if we have 3 groups, how many hundreds can we put in each group? Kind of making sense of that problem. We can start placing them out, 200, 200, and 200, because I know 2, 4, 6, 2 times 3 is equal to 6, and I have hundreds. So of the total 642, I have shared between the 3 groups 600, and there's 200 in each group. So my quotient represents how much is in each group. Once I've taken care of my 600, I still have 42 left. And in 42, there are 4 10s, so I can place 1 10 in each of the groups. That uses up 30 of those 4 10s, thus 40. And then the remaining 10, I have to break up and share those in the ones place. So that's the remaining 12 right there. And I know that if I have 12 left over, because I know my basic facts, so if your student doesn't know their basic facts, practice those facts. That's key to multiplication, division, and also when we do fractions. Knowing your multiplication makes all of those math processes a lot easier. So my last thing to do is to divide out those 12, and 3 times 4 is 12, so I can spread my remaining ones into each of the 3 groups. And that gives me the rest of my quotient. So each group has 200 plus 10 plus 4. So I have 214 as my quotient. And we can actually go back and look and see where all of that's been shared amongst the 3 groups. The next model is called the area model, and it's this model kind of compressed, and you don't see the place value representation in that model. So I'm taking 642, the same problem, and we're dividing it by 3, so 3 is what we're dividing by. And we want to know how much it takes to build that 3 times. So in the first box, I think about my hundreds. If I count by 3s to get to 600, it takes 200 times 3 to get to 600. So that uses up my 600. And then I've got my 10s to worry about, how many 10s moving towards 642. I can get 3 10s times 3, 3 times 10, for 30. So I've used up 630 of my 642. And then I have 12 left. And I know that 12 is 3 times 4. So that means that there's nothing remaining. So each one of my groups is going to have 210. So that's called the area model. And the last model we're going to look at is the partial quotient model. And in the partial quotient model, we have our standard division model, 642 divided by 3. And I'm going to keep track of my counting by 3s on the side. Well, since I have 600, I'm looking for 100. How many hundreds are going to be in each of my 3 groups? So counting by 3s, 2. 2 times 3 is 6. In the old strategy, we would put the 2 up here, and we wouldn't pay attention to the fact that it's in the hundreds place. But with the students, we want to make sure that they realize it's 100. So 200 times 3 is 600. And we're going to do our subtraction. And over on the side, we're just going to keep track of what that number means. So we can go back and analyze our steps. I have 42 left over, and I'm still counting by threes because I'm dividing by threes. That's my divisor. Since this is more than 30, I know that there's 10 in that answer. So think about that tens place. In the old strategy, we would think about the 4, bring down the 4, and we would think about how many threes are in 4 and just write that up there and not even talk about the fact that that's the tens place. But we want to make sure that the students see that and understand what they're doing. So 3 times 10 would be 30. So I'm building my answer right here on the side. I have 12 left over, and I'm still counting by threes because I'm dividing by threes. 3 times what is 12? Well, using my basic facts, 3 times 4 is 12. And I subtract, and I have no remainders in this particular problem. So I'm going to gather up the parts of my quotient and go ahead and record that on top. 214. Now, many of the students like this strategy, but it doesn't work for all the students, so that's why we introduce them to other strategies as well. So I hope that helps you see what we're doing as we're trying to develop that place value understanding within the multiplication and division processes.